This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Joining me on Stock Box today is Ben Turney, the Executive Director of Kavango Resources. Ben, very welcome. How are you?
I'm great, thanks, Mark. How are you today?
Very good, thank you, Ben. Thank you very much for joining us on today when you've released an RNS on your KSZ Hukunsi project, drilling to commence in June. And a key line I noticed from the RNS was you'll be the first company to retrieve core from the bottom of the keel of the Gabbros. So I wonder if you can just give us your take on it, please.
Yeah, well, it's a very exciting time for the company. We've obviously done a lot of work over the last 8 years. So, since before we were a listed firm, on trying to understand the subsurface geology of the KSZ. We've now have the opportunity to be the first company, as you rightly say, to go to the bottom of one of the Gabbros. So just to remind everybody, of course, the Gabbros are the ancient volcanic systems that have turned into these underground rock formations that we're targeting from the Karoo age, so about 180 million years old. Mm-hmm. Now, the way that these metal sulfide deposits form around the world is that when the metal sulfide forms within the magmatic flow, it's a heavier immiscible liquid. So in other words, it sinks to the bottom of the magma flow. If you think about if you ever see balsamic vinegar in olive oil and the balsamic vinegar sinks to the bottom of the olive oil, mm-hmm. Well, it's a very similar process with these magmatic sulfide liquids. So they form the actual magmatic sulfide systems, the metal sulfide systems, they actually form at the bottom of these magma flows. So of course it's so important to get to the bottom now of one of these systems that are around today, because of course we need to get core samples, core data to enable us to perform testing to see if we can get definitive proof of the presence of these metal sulfide ore bodies.
Now, I wonder if you can tell me a bit about the challenges of drilling. You're drilling 500 meters, so it's quite a lot. What challenges do you envisage to happen, and how are you going to approach them?
Yeah, so we touch on a bit on this in the RNS today. As we say, we're the first company looking to get to the bottom of these gabbroic keels. And as you say, it's a 500 metre depth target. So we have to get through 70 metres of Kalahari cover at the top. Mm-hmm. So that's the loose sands. Then after that, we should be into the Karoo sediments. And then after a few hundred meters more, we're then into the actual Gabbros themselves. The simple fact is, no one's ever drilled to the depth that we're going to in the KSZ. Mm. So the technical challenge of that, it is all a bit of an unknown. But this is why we've selected the drill partner that we have, Mindea and Equity Drilling. These guys are extremely experienced. They've had a lot of success all over Africa, as it happens, working in lots of different environments in lots of different geological settings. So, they're certainly not the cheapest firm. We're paying for quality here. But the key trick to all of this is we must make sure we get the right engineered solution, because until we've actually been to the bottom of one of these holes, we won't know what geology we will actually encounter. Mm-hmm. So we feel we've done everything we can to de-risk the project at this stage, and we're very confident in the drill partner that we've selected.
Well, talking about the drill partner there, yes, you obviously are very confident. You feel they've got the ability to do this, but it's also very interesting that they are prepared to take their payment in lieu of services is half cash and half shares. So that presumably gives you confidence then that they have confidence as well.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, it absolutely goes without saying. And we're obviously very grateful for that. Look, reading between the lines on this, we've obviously been speaking with Equity Drilling now for over 6 months, built a very good relationship with them. They've already shared technical knowledge with us. They made a number of recommendations, introduced us to a few interesting people as well, all of which has helped contribute towards the project. At this stage, this is obviously proof of concept, as we tell the market. It's obviously proof of concept, trying to understand more about the geology of the KSZ, but it's also proof of concept for us to work with Mindea and to see how they perform. Now, obviously, the KSZ is a huge project, so putting 2 holes into the ground, there will be a lot more to come. We will be drilling a lot more in this project in the future. future. So we've gone for this deal now with a company we believe is up to the challenges, the technical challenges of drilling the holes to the depths that we need. And they, of course, have taken half their equity at this stage, which has helped our cash flow and our balance sheet a great deal. So for a minimal outlay of around about £70,000 cash, we're going to go and get these 2 holes into the KSZ. And of course, if things work out well with Mindaia, which so far they have been extremely well, then I think there's going to be a much more fruitful relationship in the future.
Okay, that's good. So I wonder if you can tell us a bit about the targets then and the program that is planned.
Yeah, well, at the moment, I can obviously only talk about one target A2. I mean, look, this we've done a huge amount of verification on this. We first identified it. It was our second time domain electromagnetic survey that we performed on the KSZ, which is the powerful ground-based surveying technology that we've deployed with our partner Spectral Geophysics. We found this back in February. We didn't announce it until I think it was end of March or early April, because we took the data to a number of experts around the world to verify what we had found. The key features of it are it's sitting in exactly the right geological setting according to our models. So the formation, the conductor, is towards the bottom of the keel, so toward the bottom of the Gabbroic formation. It's about 1 kilometre in size. It's got all the, it exhibits all the characteristics one would hope of an ore body. I mean, of course, we can't say it is an ore body yet. We can only do that, have to go and drill test this, but it does look very good. It visually looks very good. But above all, it's giving off this 3,000 Siemens conductance reading. Now, as one of the consultants said, that doesn't make it a barn burner of a target. Anything above 5,000 Siemens is exceptional. But anything above 1,000 Siemens is a very good-looking drill target. So we're somewhere between sort of very good and exceptional in terms of the conductance reading. But again, until we've actually been through this thing and we've extracted core sample and we've actually tested the subsurface geology, we won't actually know. So we're obviously very excited about A2. In terms of other targets, it's obviously in the public domain that we've conducted other TDEM surveys. I'm hoping to get news out on the results of some of those very, very soon. So if it's not, it probably won't be this week now. It'll probably be early next week. But I think it doesn't take a genius to put 2 and 2 together on sort of why we've pulled the trigger on this drill campaign at this stage. We're looking at some very encouraging stuff.
Okay. So there's lots of theory here, Ben, and as you've mentioned, you've had a lot of experts sort of, look at this and give their opinion. It's all sounding very confident. Will this drilling then, do you think, be the discovery, the make or break moment?
It's a very, very good question. I mean, look, it certainly won't be the make or break moment. Remember, the KSZ is a huge system. So the entire strike length of the Kalahari Suture zone is 450 kilometres long. And we've got 7,500 square kilometres that cover it. So it's a huge project. So let's just say the worst happens. We drill 2 holes and we come back with essentially barren rock. Now, obviously, that wouldn't be good. But even just getting that data from the bottom of the keels, that could still tell us a lot about the system's potential itself, and would also obviously give us a lot of lessons about augmenting our future surveying methods that we deploy. So that's obviously a worst case scenario. But even in that situation, the data that we would get from these core samples, we expect will tell us a lot about the KSZ's potential, and we're positive that we're pretty encouraged that will give us firm evidence of the system's overall potential. But of course, the great thing about these holes is because obviously, our primary objective is to get to the bottom of the Gabbros, but because we've got this A2 target, which is a cracking target in its own right, there's a chance that we could make a discovery. We could well encounter mineralization on the way down. Until we actually do it, we won't actually know. But of course, if we are fortunate enough to do that, then that would be transformational, because at that point we've got tangible evidence to go and take to much larger firms and say, look, we're the first company now that's definitively taken all of the circumstantial evidence that's out there of the KSZ potential. Now we can show you core samples from the bottom of the Gabbroic formations. Our view that the Karoo age volcanic systems are the ones that created metal deposits, not the Proterozoic that were much older and much deeper. And then, we could be into, who knows, JV territory, sale. I mean, it's the potential would be enormous.
Okay. And drilling in June, is that right, Ben?
Yeah, exactly. So we're looking to mobilise the rig within a week. The drill contract stipulates drilling to commence no later than the 30th of June. So we've already prepared. We've already identified the campsite. We've identified 2 water sources. Preparations already being made to mobilise the rig to. We've obviously, these things can always be subject to a bit of slippage. We've got to take 5 vehicles that are heading out to the KSZ. There's all sorts of logistical complications that can occur. But we think we've given enough time, and the time frame we've given is realistic. So we're looking to start drilling before the end of the month, and then it will probably take, I'd guess, maybe a month or so to complete the drilling, and then after that we're into sending off samples for assay testing, and there's some testing we'll be able to do on the field. We've got some ideas around using the XRF on sand cores. So it's all go now.
So can you expand on the testing then, and when you'll be getting the drill results?
Yeah, sure. So look, everyone's going to want to know when are we going to get drill results. What I will say about Kavango is we are going to be thorough and meticulous in our approach. So any results that we get, we'll test, and then we'll verify before we put anything into the market. We obviously we don't know what's going to be happening with the COVID situation. There's been talk of closing the border between Botswana and South Africa, so that's obviously out of our hands. But in broad terms, the first step will be to conduct some on-site testing, as I just mentioned, using the XRF machine. We're in particular interested in looking at soil geochemistry in the Kalahari cover. We'll then send off the samples to the lab in South Africa for full assay testing. That will obviously update nearer the time, and we'll have a clear idea of time frame, because obviously we don't know what the lab's capacity will be at, once we've actually got the core samples to them. And then after that, we'll be taking the main samples and bringing those over to the UK to work with the academic consultants that we've used. So Dr. Prendergast, Dr. Holwell. We have another couple of guys as well who we think will send some of this to, who'll be able to give us a much more definitive view of what these core samples tell us about the system's potential. So all in, I'm expecting that we should have sort of full and final results by the autumn, but obviously we'll release results sort of as and when we get them at the various stages.
An exciting moment then, Ben. Will you be keeping shareholders updated with some pictures of the drill in action?
Oh, well, absolutely. And more than that, look, we've got a whole run of RNSs that are going to be around this, because this is all culminated in sort of a number of different work streams have all culminated at the same time, which has also influenced our decision to go ahead and drill now these first 2 holes. There's going to be a lot of updates over the coming months.
Okay. Well, Ben Turney there, the Executive Director of Kavango Resources. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to this Stockbox interview. For more information, interviews and videos, visit our website at stockboxmedia.com or give us a follow on Twitter by searching @StockboxMedia.